Last year, when I started to hear rumors of Sony working on a new handheld device, I was beyond excited. As someone who opted for a PSP rather than a Nintendo DS as a child, but ended up missing out on the Vita, the thought of playing Sony exclusive games like Final Fantasy VII Remake and Bloodborne on the go made me pumped up. However, this excitement was quickly diminished when the rumors became confirmations from Sony that this was going to be a streaming-only device. Now personally, I believe that digital-only, streaming, and cloud gaming are eventually going to be the norm. As someone who has a YouTube channel dedicated to mostly retro gaming and only buys digital games when it's the only available option, this hurts me, but I can't deny that the technology is heading in that direction. We can already see the start of this from consoles like the Xbox Series S and the PS5 Digital, or games like Kingdom Hearts releasing as a cloud version on the Nintendo Switch. Even my currently most played game, Diablo 4, requires you to always be connected to the internet, which causes frequent problems. The thing is, as much as I hate this direction, most of my complaints concerning it are valid. I like physical media because when my power goes out, which has been numerous times in the past month here in Quebec, Canada, I can still play my Nintendo Switch. I don't like streaming or cloud-based gaming as I have the best possible internet speed for my area, 400 megabytes per second download, and I still get latency when streaming, leading to a less than pleasant gaming experience. This is why the idea of a streaming-only device from Sony feels like such a slap in the face when they had the opportunity to do something so much better. My first problem with the console, formerly known as Project Q, comes from its design. While the screen looks excellent and the controller shape being the same as the DualSense looks very comfortable to hold, Sony has been facing the same problem as Nintendo with this generation of gaming: stick drift. While the Nintendo Switch has been out for over 6 years now, most people that own this console have experienced stick drift at some point. In fact, there were a lot of lawsuits surrounding this controversy. As much as I hate on Nintendo for being a non-consumer friendly company, they handled this situation extremely professionally by offering essentially a lifetime no questions asked stick drift warranty on their Joy-Cons. I have had to go through the process of sending one out after owning it for multiple years, and the process was simple. Nintendo covered the shipping costs and sent me a shipping label, and within a few weeks I had a fixed Joy-Con. While I'm not 100% certain, I can imagine this process is similar for devices like the Switch Lite that have a fixed controller, as stick drift would render devices like that virtually useless. The polar opposite of this is how Sony chooses to handle their PlayStation 5 DualSense stick drift issue. I have owned a PlayStation 5 since launch, and just recently started getting stick drift on my main controller. Assuming Sony would handle the situation in a similar fashion to Nintendo, I went on their website to send in my controller for repair, only to find out that their warranty only covers controllers for 1 year and requires the original receipt. Stick drift happens over long periods of time, which was my case in the first 2 years of PS5 ownership. With the price of new controllers being around $100 here in Canada, and Sony offering very little to no assistance, I'm now left using a controller with drift every time I play co-op with my girlfriend. I can only imagine the frustration I would be feeling if this was an issue I experienced with the PlayStation Portal after spending more than double the price of a DualSense controller. My next complaint is regarding the connectivity. While there are a few workarounds, my preferred microphone headset, being the Powerbeats Pro, is not natively compatible with the PlayStation 5. This means that I had to purchase the Pulse 3D in order to properly utilize Party Chat, as the controller's built-in microphone is nice, but it's not really a viable long-term option. From the early looks of it so far, the Pulse 3D does not seem to be compatible with the PlayStation Portal. In addition to this, like the PlayStation 5, the PlayStation Portal does not offer Bluetooth support. This means that in order to use a microphone, you either have to use something with a 3.5mm jack, which is becoming more and more obsolete as time goes on, or purchase one of their new upcoming Pulse Elite headsets, which will likely both cost over $100. While the $200 USD price tag for the PlayStation Portal may look appealing to the untrained eye, the cost to actually play it is much higher. Here's a simple breakdown of the costs here in Canada. Roughly $250 for the PlayStation Portal itself, about $700 for the PlayStation 5, and $100 or so for the PlayStation Elite headset, equaling a staggering $1,100 just to play the device the way it was intended. If you factor in the monthly high-speed internet bill and the likely stick drift repair costs you'll have to endure, this just makes no sense. especially when options like the Steam Deck are now readily available. And as a side note, my Switch OLED has full Bluetooth compatibility, so this was obviously a decision made by Sony to force more of their products on consumers. While those previous two complaints were both pretty large, the last and biggest complaint I have with this is the whole device itself. While I really do admire any company trying to push the boundaries in advanced technology, simply put, we are just not quite at the point where we can utilize a streaming-only device and actually have a good user experience. While I mentioned being reluctant to embrace streaming and cloud gaming earlier, the main reason is simply because they don't provide nearly as smooth of an experience as playing games right off the actual hardware. Latency isn't some made up thing, and you can see this with a very quick downfall of Google's Stadia. While the idea is great on the surface, trying to play competitive games like Destiny 2 or Rocket League while experiencing constant input issues is essentially impossible. And again, it doesn't matter how good your internet is. I have a 5G phone plan with unlimited data and the fastest possible home internet speed, and I still can't rely on those two things to be consistent all the time. Internet connectivity is not perfect, and I don't have the technical knowledge to explain why, but it just isn't. And until it is perfect, or at least much more reliable than it currently is, devices like the PlayStation Portal are bound to face a similar fate to Google Stadia. Sony had the opportunity to make something like a Vita 2, but instead chose an easier money grab. I don't like telling my viewers what to do with their money, but don't buy this crap. Maybe one day a device like the PlayStation Portal will actually make sense, but that day is not today. Anyways, thank you guys all for watching. I just really wanted to share my opinion on this subject. Also, I just hit 400 subscribers and I'm really stoked about that milestone. If you've been following my channel since the start, you may have noticed a lot more content revolving around modern gaming and gaming news recently. I haven't forgotten about my retro nostalgic reviews, but this channel is an outlet for me to talk about my opinion regarding all things gaming. So whether it's retro or modern gaming content, I don't discriminate. If I'm interested in a topic regarding gaming, I'll talk about it. Please subscribe to the channel and help me hit my next big milestone of 500 subs, and like the video while you're at it. Also, let me know your thoughts on the PlayStation Portal down below. Do you share the same opinion as me, or are you going to be first in line to buy it? Anyways, until next time, take care.